the President and friend, Nana Akufo-Addo. You are at home in Portugal. And you are at home in Portugal, and it's for us an honor and a pleasure to receive you here after 16 years without a state visit of a Ghana president. It's too long, dear friend, too long. And Ghana is not just another country, African country. Ghana is a key country in Africa. You have been very successful in your membership of the Security Council this year, 22-23. You had been very successful in your presidency of CDAO, 2022. You are a key country knowing Northern Africa, the Sahel, the western coast of Africa, and the whole continent as a country. You are a case of democracy, peace, and stability. And you are a case of economic growth and permanent search for social justice. But I'm speaking of the country. But I should speak a little bit of you. But before speaking of you, I must add we share the same points of views on multilateral issues. The Charter of the United Nations, international law, the role of international organizations, peace and security in the world, but also sustainable development, environment, intergenerational dialogue, and of course about the war in Ukraine. Both of us condemned Russian invasion. And we are worried with the situation that is lived not just as an European war, but a global war with global effects on poverty, misery, on hunger, on inflation, on economic growth, everywhere. In Africa, as in Latin America, as in Asia, and not just in Europe. But speaking of you, you are very special, dear President. I don't know if you notice it. Sometimes one gets used to his or her own personality. You are very special because most of this stability, most of this peace, most of this growth is the result of your action and of your options. The way you do not separate the political democracy from social and economic democracy. The aims you choose, and you chose, always chose in your political life for your country, for Africa, and for the relations between Africa and Europe. Very consistent. This means that it's easy to have very good bilateral relations between our two countries. Our two ministers, Minister for Defense and Foreign Affairs, were recently in Ghana, starting a road that now explains the agreements that will be signed tomorrow. A political MOU, an MOU on investment between the two agencies in so many different fields: agri-industry, education, training, tourism, social affairs, but also renewables, digital, technology, high-tech, finance. Then, how important is also the agreement signed between Ghana and Portugal concerning companies small, medium-sized, and larger companies acting in other sectors, infrastructures, construction. Then the agreement on defense. On defense. We are both of us worried with the Gulf of Guinea. We are cooperating on that field. A mission of our Navy will make the follow-up of the previous presence of one of our vessels in your country during the visit of our ministers. And we'll be sharing information on maritime issues, on the oceans. This is something that is important for both of us. We shall sign a memorandum on the Atlantic Center in the middle of the ocean, involving already 21 countries on maritime security. It is an issue that we must address. So, as a whole, I would like to tell you that this visit is not just another visit. It is a very special visit with visible effects on our bilateral and multilateral relations. Very visible, very effective effects. And that's why we are so happy having you here for a couple of days. But then we must stress the relation, I would say a strategic partnership between Europe and Africa. And that's an European problem, not just an African problem. You know that Portugal is always a fighter, and for very long a fighter, convincing our brothers in Europe, both the northern European countries, the western European countries, the eastern European countries, how important it is, this partnership. But it must be effective, and not just state to state. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your role in your country and in your continent and in the world. You can count on Portugal and the Portuguese for the future.